show them there's music for the youth that actually goes to what their beliefs are or what your beliefs are. So, like I said, I started off in the refugee camp as a volunteer. Many of my classmates didn't want to do that. It is such a remote place in the northeastern part of Kenya, and it still remains. There was no telephone network. It took a whole day by bus from Nairobi to get there from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Yet I was going there for no pay. But my drive was working for humanity, you know, and also getting myself to have a name out there in terms of my work. I had a lot of belief in myself. And so from there I grew, I got interested. I was an accountant volunteer, and then I developed interest in what the money does to the people, you know, other than just making payments in the office. I was interested to see how does this money benefit the person that we are working for. And so in the process of it, and I have an entrepreneurial mind, I thought about refugees doing business, since they're already doing it, but accessing credit to be able to do business. The idea did not sell to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees because it was not within the mandate to allow for funding or support to refugees beyond their basic needs of food, shelter, and education, basic education. And so I wrote a proposal to a Danish organization, and they funded. I was, with the support of our program manager, was very supportive of new ideas from people who had just come from the university. And so when that project was funded, then I was moved there to run it. And that's how I managed to just move very quickly because I had the idea. So we started running a micro finance program. As much as it was not very popular among the funders, but it was popular among the people that we were serving. I enjoyed seeing refugees making profits and being able to do so much with the money. And so from there, I was moved to Nairobi office, and all this I was under Care International, and I got a permanent job now, and grew from a donor reporting, a financial accountant to a donor reporting accountant. And then still my interest drove me out of finance. And I can tell you that my father wanted me to be an accountant, my mother wanted me to be a teacher. So I chose to do both accountancy and education so that both my parents are happy, and then I could figure out what to do with the two of them. And it worked. Yeah? So I am neither an accountant right now, and I'm not a teacher. But the skills gained in those two courses have been very impactful to my life. So eventually, that's why I decided to do project planning and management at a master's level at the University of Nairobi, because that helps me in running programs and financing programs that we do elsewhere in open society. So from Care International, then I moved to Akiba Ohaki Foundation, and we were starting up. I was there for 7 years at the Care International. Then I moved to Akiba Ohaki Foundation to set up a foundation, an East African grant maker. And then I realized I had not fully made use of the learning opportunities I had with the bigger organizations, and so I went back to Pathfinder International. But by then now I was a grants accountant. I'll tell you what grants accountancy is all about. And then I moved to, with Pathfinder I was there for 4 years, grew from a grants accountant to grants manager. Whenever they had projects that were going down in terms of grants, I was always being transferred to go and resuscitate such offices. After Pathfinder International, then I moved to Regional Center for Mapping. Anyway, in a nutshell, I have been to so many sectors. I have been in the health sector, I have been in the education sector, I have been to the space sector, if there's anything like that, where we were funding environmental management factors, which also include whatever is in the space and what is underneath. I have been in the livestock sector. But the same skill and competence that is required to do grants management it is the same skill that I have had that has enabled me to move from sector to sector. So what I'm trying to say is, you can study one thing and be able to apply it across many sectors. Never limit yourself. Never limit yourself and say, because I was trained as a veterinary scientist or a veterinary or professional, then I can only deal with cattle. No. You can still advance and do a few diplomacy and a few certificates and attend conferences like this that build you believe in yourself, and you find yourself shifting. Turned 40 recently, and I decided that now I will not change jobs again. I am 3 months old at Open Society because my learning curve and ability to cope with new environments is also going down. But given a chance, I would change jobs every 1 year because my position, my work is in high demand. But I have created that demand for myself by who I have branded myself to be and my work. You know, I tell people that I work more like a consultant, short-term, high-intensity assignments. I treat my daily job like a job with short deadlines. You know. And so that in 3 months, I have been impacted a lot to be able to if I was to move to another job maybe in a year, then there's a story about my work. Are we together on that? Don't get a 5-year contract and be said, year 1 I can relax and have a good time. After all, I have year 2 to 5 to prove myself. No, from day 1, work as if it's your own work. Work as if there's no tomorrow. Not meaning that you work overtime and everything and strain yourself, but employ you, engage all your faculties in whatever you do, you know. And while I'm standing here today, again, like I said, it's not anything in what I do, but I'm interested in the youth, but I'm also an expert in organizational development and such, because in grants management, that's really what we do. Any question up to there? Yeah?
Just one.
Yes?
So how do you manage all of this as well as being, I notice, a wife and probably a mom?
Okay, thank you. But I could answer that quickly. Wife. I can't answer that, but yeah, I have other responsibilities. I can confirm that. And I have many other responsibilities in my church, you know, in my family, with the youth that I mentor, and you could all join that list. My plate is never full. But if you work in compartments, like you decide to engage fully in something, then you're likely to achieve, you know. That comes with planning for your work and your life. Don't leave open spaces for people to walk in, but even if they attempt to walk in, organize them as they fit into your space, okay? Yeah, I'll just use an example, and because I'm talking to the youth, I don't mind spending more time talking about this. Yeah, doesn't mean that you tell off people who are around you, but you organize them as they come into your life, hasn't it? Yes, you help them to get organized. In the process of it, you're also getting organized, yeah? And do your research as much as possible. There's someone who is already dozing, he must be reflecting about that. Yeah, please help your neighbor. Yeah, so when you organize your life and do your research, like what do you spend your time doing? This morning we were told about following other musicians on Twitter and everywhere. And we end up, they said about comedians as well, and we end up looking, I mean, it doesn't end well. If they are our role models, of which, of course, there are few things to learn from them, but that's not the line you want to take. If it's not the line that you want to take, then most probably you're spending too much time on following something that does not benefit your life, isn't it? I know the temptation, I know most of you, your fingers are itching to touch your phone. You see, every time. It happens to me too. But control is very, very important. Yeah, so it's just about organizing life and just prioritizing and organizing and trying. Of course, you turn away a few things, but you just have to learn to balance and organize you like. Don't leave empty spaces for people to walk in. People who keep you waiting for a date, 2 hours today, next week 3 hours. They're wasting your time, isn't it? Help them not to waste your time. I didn't say that get rid of them. Help them not to waste your time, So structure yourself and they will respect that structure. Okay. So now we are going to talk about organizational development. I don't know, were we able to find a cable?
I think you have to do it there. No, there it is. Yeah.
That one is the off. Okay. What is organizational development, if I could hear from you? Remember, I'm a teacher, so you see a bit of those characteristics in me. Yeah, so bear with me, we'll be participatory. This is a Friday. This is a? So it's not Friday, it's Thursday. Friday is tomorrow, yeah? Yes. But you had another Friday yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes, so, yeah, so what's organization development?
I think it's the controls or procedures.
I think it's the controls, the procedures, and the policies that you draft and get coordination with the people to build the organization. So it's looking at those aspects.
That's a good try. What's your name?
That's all.
Nazola. Yeah, that's a good try. You say to the controls and procedures that you take. Are you an accountant? Huh? Okay, that you put in place. Another try. Before we define it, let's just talk about it and then you can ask questions after you know what organizational development is. This is a planned effort by an organization. I know I'm starting from a bit. I know we represent different organizations, different places. Some of us are here as individuals, but we will talk about this because at some point you are either going to develop your own enterprise or business, or you already have one, or you're working for an organization, or you will work for an organization. So whatever we're talking about here applies to any kind of setup. That will have any kind of institution. So it is a planned effort which mostly is managed from the top of an organization to increase its own effectiveness. When an organization is supposed to be effective, or you need it to be more effective, it is that effort that you make to increase its effectiveness and health. We'll talk about what health is, through planned interventions in the organization's processes. So it is really an effort to align an organization or an enterprise to its strategies, and also to align the strategies, the people, and the processes. Again, we will expound on that. At some point, we will simplify these terms. So, have you ever had a situation where you have an organization, a community-based organization, or any other kind of setup? When one day you wake up and ask yourselves as members or as officials, what was our mission really? What do we want to achieve? Have we found ourselves in such circumstances? What did you want to do? How did you want to do it? Yeah? So, because you're realizing that maybe everyone has their own thoughts about, and their own approaches about how to accomplish the missions that they had developed. So you're enhancing work. So people feel more important. Every person in the organization gets to have a sense of greater importance, and so they are able to be innovative. You know, if you place someone at their best in a comfortable situation, then they are likely to do as much as they're likely to engage again, let me use their faculties, all their faculties for the enhancement of the work of the organization. Are we together until there? If my English is too American, please let me know. Then we have the fifth importance of organizational development is, of course, effectiveness and efficiency. When you have achieved all the other four, then you have effectiveness and efficiency. As we talk about this, still remember that the challenge of fundraising is what we have identified, but you could also think of others. Like it could also mean that in your organization or where you are, people keep leaving. You get new people, new hires, and people leave and others come in. That's also a challenge. So you can have a case in point in your mind as we go through this afternoon of learning. Now let's talk about strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Does anyone have another way of explaining SWOT other than what is there, or any other way of explaining how you understand SWOT? Who has heard the word SWOT before? Great. So, who has used it anywhere, at the workplace, at home, in personal life? Oh, great. So we don't need to spend much time on there, but for the sake of those who don't know about SWOT, it is a tool for analyzing your organization at the initial level. It's a tool that you use to analyze your organization at an initial level. But it could be anywhere. It could be at any stage, maybe every 5 years. Yeah? So you're looking at the strengths of the organization, the weaknesses, the opportunities and threats, and you can define those. Elements of SWOT analysis. We have the internal and the external elements, and the strengths and weaknesses are internal, opportunities and threats are external factors or elements. So the strengths are the, what are the strengths of your organization, or what is the most recent positive change? Internally, what strengths do you have that the niche, that brand that you are is a strength, isn't it? And we also know about personal branding. Do we know that? And that's why I said you can also do SWOT on yourself, SWOT analysis on yourself. Then we have the weaknesses. And it is good to accept that for you to genuinely get results about organizational development, you have to understand the strengths of that organization and the weaknesses as well. You cannot deny them. That is what are your organization's weaknesses and the areas that need change. Then the external elements of SWOT analysis are opportunities. Because of your brand, or maybe the things that you're strong about, is the organization uniquely placed? Maybe in the current context, or in your country, or your region, or your community. And what things do you identify about your organization that are opportunities that you have not tapped into? Yeah? Like, if you already have an organization registered for youth, and then you know about the demographics of the youth in that region, then you have that catchment area as the youth population in that area become your potential members or beneficiaries. So you've got to demonstrate or check if you really are in the right place, and the coverage that you want to take, do you have the right fora, or the opportunities that
And we are a team of youth who are really creative, and we've got a really unique style compared to the Western attire. And the weakness, it's cultural differences, so everybody wants to impose their cultural ideas into the fashion, and it brings conflicts. And also, as youth, we face the problem of having low capital. Conflict of interest, I said it, and we lack enough good tailors. We are good designers, but we are not good tailors, so we lack the tailors in the company. Opportunities that we have is the government trying to promote the African attire, so they create opportunities like different events that we could actually sell our products. which also comes back to another opportunities of rise of fashion events. Like example, in Tanzania have Swahili Fashion Week, so we can actually sell our products to these events. And another opportunities is the social media. It's easy to promote our brand via social media because everybody is watching about fashion and what's current in fashion, so it's easy for us to promote ourselves. The threats, it's high competition. As you know, the fashion world has like a lot of people, everybody is into fashion. So it's like really, really, really hard to enter into the fashion business and prosper. And another threat is Westernization. People are running away from the African attire. Everybody wants to wear something that is made by Europeans and Americans, and it's really hard finding people that are wearing the African attire, so it's really a...
So the company called Netherland. So we used the company called an organization, an NGO. We decided that we'll use an NGO structure. So we used an NGO called the Social Bridge, and it has the focus of Yes. So we decided to use an existing company called the Social Bridge. And one of the thematic areas that the organization focuses on is rehabilitating rural urban migrants. So people who move from their rural areas to the cities to find work, but are left on the streets, give birth to children, and these children are the ones we call the street children. So the strengths of this organization is that it has run some successful events. For instance, a successful peace campaign to showing the community the gruesome effects of war through film, and also getting community leaders in the opposing political parties to come together and speak to these people and let them see that even the opposition leaders are good friends with the people in power, the incumbent supporters, and as such, there is the need for you as the grassroots to also stick with peace, because as you can see from the movies, it's not good. Even just hitting someone can lead to a full-blown war. We also identified another strength, that the NGO has been able to register 200 street children under the health insurance for free. So that's a strength of the NGO. Due to the work that the NGO is doing, another strength is that it has gained the community's trust, because street children and people who are vulnerable are very, very adamant to trust people, who are not in their circles. So the work that the NGO has been doing has led to them gaining trust with these people, and that's a strength. We also identified the fact that the NGO has a good relationship with community leaders, which also facilitates the organization of programs. Then we went to the weaknesses. So one weakness is that it's self-funded, which means that funds are limited, and as such, there's only that much that you can do, but not as much as you would want to. And that all the people who are in the organization are professionals. So they do this as part-time or as an extracurricular activity. So this affects the efficiency of the organization. Then we also identified the opportunities. So due to the fact that there are good relationships with community leaders, this provides an opportunity for growth and for the NGO to expand its territory of influence. And that due to the work that the NGO is doing, a bank has also contacted the NGO to run its CSR program relating to these people. So that is an opportunity that has come by. And also the fact that, yes, this also creates a good network. The existence of a good network is also a great opportunity. Then we come to the threats. So one threat is that because these vulnerable people in society are usually used as pawns when it comes to election times. People just come and give them food and promise them the world, but then they don't deliver. when you as an individual goes there, the perception is that you are also going to do the same thing. So that is something that's threatening the organization because of the consistent disappointment of politicians who come to speak to them to get their votes. Then also the fact that there's a lack of interest in vocational work because, for instance, begging on the streets can earn you more than going to fend for yourself. So that's a threat. The fact that people are giving to beggars is a threat to us also being able to train them to fend for themselves. I think that's it. Thank you.
Right from how you create the organization, whether it's an existing one. And I do not want to say much about what has already been said, but I think that's a very thorough coverage. Do we now feel comfortable around SWOT analysis? How many of us feel very comfortable? How many feel fairly comfortable and not comfortable at all, like it's still new? None of us, okay. So that again we do not miss any party that might be thrown today. Is there any party today? Yeah?
Yes.
Is party?
No,
It's a sport.
Oh, sports party. Yeah, we also need that, don't we? Yeah, so we're not. Yeah, so leave this alone. These are just my thoughts, and we've already had that. So now, in your groups, do not leave your groups, but we are not going to do this exercise now because of time. But I want you people to continue speaking to each other. Yeah? And one way is to keep these groups. You all have my business cards. There's a take-home assignment. Yeah? So you'll appoint someone to send this assignment once you've consolidated it. You're not like us, you know how to network, to speak to each other on social media and all that. You have many ways in which you can do your homework, isn't it? Yeah, so for people like my age, if we are given homework to take home, we'd have to ask for an extra day here. Yeah, because we don't know any other way than to sit together. Yeah, so these are 9 questions and we have 8 groups. We have 4 groups. So just take this, I know it's in small writing. Group 1 will take organizational topics that we want to cover.